So YouTube recently implemented some changes where they're going to be pushing more ads on YouTube on TVs, and they're going to be putting 30-second unskippable ads. Not a big fan of that, so I wanted to show you how you can avoid said ads the way that I've been doing it for quite a while now. Now, I used to have YouTube Premium, and I canceled it at the end of 2024 when a bunch of the price hikes started happening. They did a whole bunch of price hikes across the world in 2024, and previously they had just been constantly increasing the price without adding any new features to the platform. So I decided to go my own route and start using apps that blocked the ads for me. Now, me making this video might put my channel into YouTube algorithm purgatory. I think my channel might already be there, but I think it's important for you guys to know different ways that you can go ahead and block ads across your TVs. Specifically today, we're going to be talking about Google TVs or Android TV boxes. This includes things like the NVIDIA Shields, the Google TV streamers, the Amazon Fire Stick, but it will not include things like the built-in apps on your Samsung TV, LG TVs, or Rokus. Now, I do use an LG version of a very similar app on my LG TV. If you do want me to show you how to install that, let me know down in the comment section below and I'll do a separate video on that. It's a very different process to get that installed, but there are different methods for the Samsung TVs, LG, Roku, Apple TV, and so on. I'll leave some up on the screen here and I'll leave some in the description as well if you do want to go ahead and check those out. But this does work for a majority of TVs out there since most of them are using Google TV or Android TV as a backbone. So what is SmartTube? SmartTube is a free and open source advanced media player for Android TV and TV boxes. It allows you to play content from a variety of public sources. Now, the main features that I really like about SmartTube is that it has no ads, so it strips all of the ads that YouTube will put on their videos. It also has sponsor block integration, so we can skip people's read ads or their baked in ads that they will read throughout their videos. We have up to 8K resolution support, 60 frames per second, HDR, as long as your device supports HDR with AV1. You can view live chats, you can do a whole ton of great customization, and it does not require Google services, which is super handy on devices like the Amazon Fire Stick where you may not have that installed. Another really great feature about SmartTube is that it has a built-in updater so that we really only have to do the installation process once. And going forward, whenever you need to update the app, you can do it directly within the app. You don't have to download the APKs again. Most times, every once in a while that will break and you will have to download a new APK, but it's relatively easy. So I'm going to show you how to install this on my old Google Chromecast with Google TV. I do use this mostly on my NVIDIA Shield downstairs, but this one does not have it installed, so I figured it was good for the installation process. The speed at which the app's going to work is going to be based on your device, so this device is a little bit slower, so it may look a little bit slower while we're going through menus, but the Chromecast with Google TV is quite an old device at this point, so do keep that one in mind. So there are multiple ways that we can install this. I've talked about this in a previous video, but we can either sideload the app or we can use something like Downloader to get it. Downloader is going to be the easiest process, so I'll show you how to do it that way. So we're just going to go ahead and launch the Downloader app. And then in the URL here, you're going to go ahead and put the URL or the downloader code directly from the SmartTube GitHub. Do not use any codes or URLs from other websites telling you how to install the app. Get it directly from the GitHub and make sure that it is the one that is there. Those other downloader links or URLs can be just installing other versions of the app that may have something that you do not want on there. So make sure you're getting it directly from the developer themselves. So I'm just using the link for the stable. We're going to go ahead and press go. It's going to go ahead and download the APK and we can go ahead and install that. Easily install the app. It's going to go through this whole process. And once it's done, we can go ahead and press open. So when you see the app, it's going to be laid out very differently than what the default YouTube app looks like. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go ahead and log into an account. So we're going to go down to our settings, accounts, and we're going to sign in. Now the sign in process is relatively easy. We're just going to go ahead and go to that link and we're going to punch in the code. And once we finish that process, it's going to go ahead and bring us here and we'll be able to see all of our accounts. We can very easily switch between them. Now, as you were also able to see here, we have some options to use separate settings per account. If you want to, you can password protect your account and you can show the account selection on boot. So if you have a lot of different people in your house and they're all using their own personal YouTube accounts, it might be good to have the show account selection on boot, but I don't need that. I'm here on my own. So Very easy. And while we're in here, we can take a look at some settings. Now, the first setting that I typically change is the sidebar here. There's a lot of stuff on the sidebar that I don't care about. So I would go very quickly into the settings. I would go to general. I would go to the sections, and then you can choose the sections that you want. You know, I don't care about shorts on TV. I don't care about the kids YouTube stuff, so I'm going to take that off. You know, take off basically everything that you don't want. And it makes the side panel just much more easy to navigate and get to the things that you actually care about. You can also change the boot to section. So I personally like changing it to be the subscriptions page. I prefer watching my subscriptions. And then if I want to watch recommended content, I'll go to home. But subscriptions is where I prefer starting my stuff and watching everything off there. There are a lot of different options here. One of the big ones I'll talk about in a second within the context menu, but play around with the settings, check out the other awesome stuff that you can change. I want to talk next about Sponsor Block. So what Sponsor Block does is it is a community-driven platform where people can mark certain sections of videos as being sponsor read, self-promotion, filler. For music videos, people will mention where the music video actually starts. You know, if there's like an intro or a skit that you don't really care for, you can have it skip that. Whole bunch of stuff. If we go into the settings here, we can choose different actions. And this is what I was talking about. These are all the different kinds of things that people will mark on videos, and it allows you to skip those. Now, by default, it is going to automatically skip them and tell you a notification when it skips them. I don't personally like that. For the sponsors, sure, skip with notification. But for things like the intermission, let me choose if I want to skip it, and it'll just pop up a little thing. It'll say, do you want to skip this intro? You can skip it. Basically, with all these, I change all of the rest of these to show confirmation dialogues. I really just want to skip the in-video sponsors especially from channels where it fully breaks up the video. It's not a well-integrated sponsor. They just cut to them reading about a sponsor that has nothing to do with the video content, sometimes nothing to do with their channel at all. And I just feel like that really ruins a lot of videos. Certain channels are awful at putting like 2 to 3 ads throughout their videos. They're long sections. I've seen some videos where the sponsored section is longer than the actual video, whole bunch of things. So this allows you to skip a lot of that. But I do change almost all of these to show confirmation dialogue, so that I can choose if I want to skip it or not. Now, with the context menu thing that I mentioned, I like adding an option here where I can exclude a channel from sponsor block or basically whitelist it. So certain channels I feel do a much better job, and I actually enjoy watching their sponsors. It allows me to see products that I would actually be interested in. Or I really like the approach that they do with sponsorships. They make them funny. They make them interesting. For example, Gamers Nexus does a really good job. The guys from Big Time do a really good job with sponsors. So I usually will go ahead and exclude them. And what this context menu does is if I add this as an option and we go back to our videos and I go ahead and long press on a video, I can now exclude this channel from sponsor block. It will completely remove the sponsor block addition when watching videos from their channels. So you won't skip anything. It won't even show the colors on the bar. So do keep that in mind if that's an option you want to choose. If not, the other option is just to, on the sponsor or on all of them, just change them all to be the show confirmation dialogue so that you can choose when you want to skip particular sections based on the type, based on the video, based on the channel, all that stuff. Now, relatively similarly, DeArrow does stuff for titles and thumbnails. So the community will create community titles and community thumbnails that better reflect what the video is actually about. It gets rid of clickbait. It gets rid of the very overly over-the-top YouTuber-y thumbnails. I don't personally use it that much because most of the channels that I follow, I actually do like their thumbnails. They don't do a lot of clickbaity stuff. Their thumbnail artists put a lot of effort into a lot of their thumbnails. They do a very good job, and I just don't feel the need for it. But if it's something that you feel makes a lot of sense for the channels that you watch, you can go ahead and turn it on. And you can choose these particular options for the local, unlocalized video titles, crowdsourced titles, crowdsourced thumbnails. Now, there are a lot more options in here that you can change. One that I would highly suggest you change is the screen dimming. I feel like the screen dimming by default is pretty quick. It dims after 1 minute of inactivity. I usually change this one to 5 minutes because every once in a while I'll be just replying to something on my phone. I don't like the screen dimming and undimming too much. It's just visually a little distracting for me. But there are plenty more options here. For example, the remote control. You can control the app directly from your phone using The standard YouTube app, you can use YouTube Revanced for this. You can cast directly from there, so that's all great. I really like the ability to cast from my phone. Within the user interface, you can change a lot of stuff here. For example, the card previews allow you to have the previews play when you're selected over a video, but you haven't actually chosen to play it yet. By default, it's disabled. You can have it so that it starts to slowly play with sound or without sound. A lot of stuff to go through. For example, the UI scale is great for accessibility. If you feel like you want to scale it up, if it's hard for you to see, you can do that. If you want to scale it down because you feel like it's a little too big, you can do that as well. A lot of other stuff, go ahead and check out the stuff in the user interface. As well as in the player, you can change the way a lot of stuff works. Again, a default one that I normally like to change is the playback mode. I like to change this to pause playback after each video, except when it's in a queue, because I don't like the constant, going through all of these videos all the time. I like being able to choose my next video and not have the video be chosen for me. So I like to do this option. Again, lots of options here. Go ahead and check them out. Now, if you're going to be setting up SmartTube on multiple devices within your house, multiple TVs, so say you have one in your living room, you have one in your bedroom, and one in your office, a really good idea is to set it all up on one, back up those settings, and then restore it on the other devices so that you don't have to constantly redo all of those settings. So for example, I have backed up my ones from my NVIDIA Shield downstairs, and I'm going to go ahead and restore those settings on here. So you can do it via local, or you can do it via Google Drive, or you can do it via their import system. I'm using the local backup because I was able to just do it using my NAS as the middleman. So we'll go ahead and restore app data. I'm going to confirm that. Now, once we relaunch the app, it should have everything set up the way that I have it set up on my NVIDIA Shield downstairs. So it makes it a lot easier. I would highly suggest the Google Drive backup seems to be a little bit finicky. I was getting a bunch of null errors when using that. So that's why I did the local one. It's a lot easier if you use something like CX File Explorer. You set up a network drive or something and you just put the backup files on there. And then you have to make sure that you go ahead and you put the files into this location on your device so that it'll restore it from there. There's no like file picker within the app, so you have to put it in that location. But I was able to get all of the settings that I have downstairs, and now we're good to go. I can go ahead and put this on the TV that I might put up in the guest room. I've just had an old TV just kind of sitting in there for a while, and it hasn't gotten any use, so now we've got it set up here. Now, there are a ton of more customizations. I highly suggest you go through them. Another really great one, for example, is being able to pin playlists to your sidebar. So for example, my watch later, it's pretty big. I want to go ahead and watch through those. So I'm going to go ahead and add this playlist to the sidebar. Now that it's on the sidebar, I want to go ahead and rename it. I don't care to have it say playlists. So I'm going to take off the little playlist part on the end here. And now it's just watch later. And now I also want it to be above the settings. So I'm going to go ahead and long press again, move the section up. And now we're good. I have my watch later in a position that I'm happy with. Now again, if you do want me to do a video specifically on the LG method of getting a very similar app on your LG TV, let me know down in the comment section below. And that's pretty much the gist of it. I watch majority of my YouTube through SmartTube. I really, really like it. It has been such a great experience for me. And I've been preaching this to a lot of people with all the recent changes, preaching it even more so because I just really hate how they're just constantly pushing through more and more ads without improving any of the platforms. Honestly, they're just making a lot of them worse. So I really do hope you found this video helpful. And if not, I at least hope you found it interesting. If you did, I'd really appreciate it. If you like, subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, you can leave those down in the comment section below, and I'll be happy to get to them all as quickly as I can. Big thanks to my Patreon sponsors. A big thanks to you for watching to the end of this video. If you do want to see any other videos that I've done on my NVIDIA Shield, for example, and TV related stuff, you can go ahead and check out the playlist right up here. And as always, stay safe out there. I'll see you next time.